Hey guys, it's Oberstadt. So I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today. I really have to go to Walmart. I was supposed to go yesterday, and well, needless to say, due to my health, I didn't get a chance to go. So I'm going to be doing like a chit chat, get ready with me. The shirt that I'm going to be wearing, let me get it. Okay, this is the color of the shirt that I'm going to be wearing. It is this yellowish orange, kind of like a buttercup yellow color. It's like a yellow with orange in it. Anyways, this is the color of the shirt that I'm going to be wearing. So I figured I would try and do a look that mimicked that. I have both the Jaclyn Hill and the James Charles palette out, so I can use both of them in conjunction. And then I'm going to be using my little Milani palette as my mirror. So for those that don't know, I have health problems, and yes, I'm listening to music on my little device. But for those that either are new to me or don't know much about me, my name is Rebecca Oberstadt. I suffer from several health conditions, and one of them is fibromyalgia. And we were having some pretty decent weather here in Florida, and I'm talking like 80-degree weather. Yes, I know it's January, but again, I'm in Florida, so it's not like we have normal winters here. And my eyes are like super like purple today, so I know I'm gonna have to layer this up a lot. So anyways, about a week ago, I had a migraine about a week and a half ago, and everything just kind of like snowballed from there. It went from being just a headache to body aches to my lower back was like burning. Like it literally felt like somebody had taken a blowtorch and set it on fire. So it calmed down for about a day and a half, and then it like came back with a vengeance, and I swear to God, it was worse than being hit in the head with a sledgehammer. And trust me, I have been hit in the head with an 8-pound sledgehammer. It was worse than that. So I was like, okay, this isn't cool. The weather went from being like, it was in 80, 85 degrees during the day to like 60 was the high for one day, and then we had like 30s and 40s at night. So we were like pretty cold at night. I'm gonna go ahead and put this one up on my eyelid because both my eyes are really like purple looking right now, and I'm gonna be putting eyeshadow on after this. So I didn't get a chance to like record a video for over a week. This is the second video that I've recorded since my migraine a week and a half ago. And thankfully I found on my YouTube channel, I had about 15 videos that were older, that were videos that for whatever reason were never published. So I decided that I would work on those while I was up, on the days that I was up, and I would edit those and get those up on my channel, which is what I did. So then I guess I need to get into exactly what condition I have, how severe it is, what causes it, the triggers, what happens, because I've had a lot of people like telling me, well, I hope you feel better. They thought I had like some sort of head cold, which I didn't. I haven't had any type of like cold or flu in at least a year. So that's a good thing. Okay, I went ahead and put my palettes out and grab brushes and whatnot, and I do have tea with me, so okay, so let me, I guess, start from the beginning. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia in 1998. I was 18 years old and pregnant when I found out I had it. Well, actually, I was 18 when I found out I had it, and then, of course, found out I was pregnant not long after that, because I was 19 when my daughter was born. So I was like, well, what the heck is fibromyalgia? It was very uncommon back in 1998. It was, some doctors considered it a myth. They were like unsure as to what it was. They thought it was one of those diseases that it mimics other things, or it has symptoms for other diseases in it. So doctors were like, oh, well, it's all in your head. It's all in your head. That there's nothing wrong with you. It's all up here. So I must have gone through a dozen or so doctors before I finally had one that would take me seriously, because my symptoms, none of them made sense. Like seriously, none of them made sense. They they weren't like tied to anything else. They didn't, yes, they acted like one disorder. Like, they had me tested for multiple sclerosis, they had me tested for lupus, they tested me for Crohn's disease. Thankfully, I don't have any of those. So the doctor was like, okay, well, what do you feel like on a day-to-day basis? And I said, well, that changes. I never feel the same from one minute to the next. So it was hard for me to explain to a physician what all was going on. They were like, well, what do you mean it changes from one minute to the next? I'm like, literally, I can feel fine one minute and the next minute be on the floor. And they're like, that doesn't happen. That doesn't sound right. They did blood work, all that kind of fun stuff. And granted, my iron was low, but other than that, there wasn't like anything that was pointing to some of the things that was going on. So I ended up going to what they call a PRN doctor, which is a pain management specialist. They work with people that have severe forms of arthritis, which sometimes people with arthritis usually go to a rheumatologist, because I went to one of those too. And he didn't know what in the world to do with me. So I went to a rheumatologist first, and then he sent me to a PRN doctor. And so now I've got my family doctor, my PRN doctor, the radiologist, and I'm like, man, how many more freaking doctors am I going to have to go and see? And then during some of my issues and stuff, I ended up with a cardiologist, but that's a story for a whole other time. So going through testing and whatnot as to what was wrong and what was causing issues, the one doctor ended up finding out for my age and for what was going on that I had a pretty severe form of the condition. And he said, for somebody my age, again, I was 18, for somebody my age to have what was going on with my body happen was rare. He had, in all of his 30 plus years of practicing medicine, had never come across anybody with the severity of the disease that I have. So I guess I need to explain what fibromyalgia is. Fibromyalgia is classified as a musculoskeletal disorder. You will also find people that have fibro have problems with chronic pain conditions. They have chronic fatigue syndrome. They deal with depression, sleep disturbances like insomnia, or where they like can't sleep forever and then they'll like sleep for 3 days in a row. They have what they call phantom pains, which really for us, it's not considered a phantom pain because of some of the things that we go to. We end up with tingling and burning and itching and tremors, and some people have seizures, which I did. They have problems where you go to walk or move and your brain doesn't realize your legs are attached to your body, so you literally just kind of fall because your body doesn't recognize that you're upright walking. I've had all of these problems, all of them that I've listed so far, I've had. And then of course you end up with, irritable bowel syndromes or constipation, things like that. So there's a lot of factors that go into this one condition. You have heat and cold sensitivities. You've got touch receptor sensitivities where if somebody touches you wrong, it almost feels like your skin is burned or you're on fire. Like literally you are like so hot, you can stick an ice pack on something and it feels like you are gonna melt the ice pack within like seconds. It's that bad. There's a lot of different things that I know I personally have gone through physically, as well as a mental toll that it takes on you, because your body is just so beat up and so worn out and so just tortured that if you do not have a really strong frame of mind, you will freaking lose it. Absolutely just go bananas, lost your mind, lost it. Sorry, I had to stop and drink some tea. So the doctor was like, okay, well, let's start simple. When you first wake up in the morning, how do you feel? And I'm like, well, depending on the day, I could wake up and feel perfectly fine, have no pain, no problems, get out of bed with a spring in my step and go about my day like nothing happened. Other days, I get up and it feels like somebody has been hitting me all night in the lower part of my back with a sledgehammer. And I'm talking, it's excruciating pain. And the doctor's like, well, on a scale from 1 to 10, can you rate your pain? I'm like 100. And they're like, no, 1 to 10. I'm like 10 plus. They're like, okay, well, I guess I can work with that. And my doctor learned to ask, okay, what's your pain scale at today? And depending on, if I said like a 25, it wasn't as bad as some days where I feel like I was at 100. And you figure like 1 is like minimal pain, or, light pain that's tolerable, all the way up to like 5 is supposed to be like pain that you can handle, pain that you can go through your day with. Whereas 10 is supposed to be excruciating pain, can't really move, you're in so much pain that you are having other symptoms like nausea and vomiting and stuff like that from being in so much pain that your body just wants to it wants to just shut down. And I'm like, he didn't understand that there were pain levels for me that were worse than that. So he's like, okay, explain a bad morning to me versus the morning where you get up and you've got a spring in your step. I'm like, okay. First you wake up in the morning and you're in so much pain you can't concentrate, or you go to roll over in bed to swing your feet out on the bed and you roll over onto your side but your legs stay where they're at. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, I've woken up a number of times and my legs don't feel like they're attached to my body. He's like, well, what do you do? And I said, well, depending on how bad I have to go pee, I lay in bed. I said, if I got to go pee really bad, then I throw myself out of bed onto the floor and army crawl to the bathroom and heave myself up using the counter to get onto the toilet to go pee. And he's like, oh, well, that's not good. How often does that happen? I said, on a bad day, well, you figure out of every 10 bad days, it might happen 8 times. He's like, well, how long do your legs stay gone for? And I said, it could stay gone for 15 minutes. It could stay gone for 3 hours. There have been days I've had to call into work and not been able to go in because my brain doesn't register that there are legs attached to me. And he's like, okay, well, we can work with that description. And I was like, okay, great. So what else do you want to know? He's like, well, what else do you deal with when you first wake up in the morning? And I said, well, usually, if my legs feel like they're attached and I go to get out of bed and, they're actually registering, I go to sit down and go pee or go brush my teeth or walk out to the kitchen and get a cup of coffee or something. And I have problems like standing for long periods of time, even if it's just for a few minutes, to pour a cup of coffee and heat it up in the microwave or make a pot of coffee. Just sometimes standing in the kitchen to do those things causes pain, causes burning pain to go from the center of my back and shoot down both of my legs to my feet where it actually feels like I'm standing on hot coals. And he's like, okay, well, what else do you have? I said, well, if I have stuff like that and I get off my feet and I go to lean over to massage my feet, then my brain goes all fuzzy and I get confused and I forget what the hell I was doing. He's like, well, how often do you forget stuff when you're like this? I said, most of the time. That condition is actually called fibro fog, where basically your brain is like swimming through pea soup in your brain and it can't differentiate one thing from the other. It's pretty bad. So he's like, well, explain some of your other symptoms. I'm like, well, let's see. I've got swelling here and I've got pain that's there, but there's nothing wrong that would cause pain there. And he's like, okay. I said, he's like, well, have you injured that area? I'm like, no. So he would do, tests and stuff. On our bodies, we have what we call alleles or markers. And just for an example, like when you go to the doctor and they hit your knee with the rubber triangle to see what your reaction is. Or they put it on the inside of your elbow and they put their fingers there and then they hit their fingers in order to see if you have a reaction. Those are like pressure point markers. You've got them behind your ears, you've got them behind your knees, you've got them on your ankles, you've got them on your wrists, your elbows, you've got them multiple places. So what they do to check your alleles is they do pressure, cold, pain. So pressure would be pushing it with a thumb. Pain would be pricking it with something sharp, like usually they use a needle or a pair of scissors. Cold, again, the scissors work for that. They kind of like, what my doctor used to do is he would run the scissors along the skin in order to touch the skin with the point to feel if there's pain. Cold, he would just lay the flat part on my skin so that I would feel the temperature of the instrument. And then pressure, again, like I said, he would use his thumb. Anyways, so most of the time they test 18 areas of your body. Like I said, behind your ears, 2. elbows, 2, ankles, 2 on each. You've got, 2 ankles, 2 knees. So you've got 2, 4, 6, 8 just right there. Then you've got your wrists, that's 10. You've got points on your back, multiple points on your back. You've got points like on your hips. They even check like the front of like where your pelvis bone on the front of you is that curved part on your pelvis. They check like right above there. There's pressure points there. It's amazing where we have pressure points. And some of those, if you push one on me, I drop straight to the floor and no questions asked. All you have to do is just push a thumb in that one spot and I'm on my knees. It's that bad. So, like I said, the doctors do 18 markers. So they test 18 points on a body in order to see how our body is going to react to the sensation and the pain, cold, pressure, that kind of stuff. 18. They're called, like I said, they're called alleles. I have 16 out of 18 alleles. When the doctor tested me, he was blown away. I was walking. He was like, I've never seen anybody even in their 80s have the same kind of markers that you have. I'm like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? He's like, for your age, for you being 18 years old to have all these markers, he says, that's not very good. And I'm like, okay, well, what are we going to do about it? So the only place on my body that I don't have allele markers is behind my knees, which is probably a good thing because I like to cross my legs a lot. So he told me what they were going to try and do. I was doing physical therapy. I was going to the chiropractor 3 times a week. I was put on muscle relaxers and morphine and all kinds of stuff. Fibromyalgia takes such a harsh toll on the body. It's not even funny. Like it thinks that your body is a playground and it needs to go and do like jumping jacks on everything. And the worst part about that is there's nothing you can do about it. Once you have those markers that are sensitized, you're done. There is no cure. Yes, there are treatments, but there's no cure. Once you've got markers that are acting up or spots on your body that are reacting that way to pressure, cold, sharp objects, that kind of thing, there isn't really anything that they can do to help with that. They can just kind of alleviate some of the symptoms. And this disease is so hard between the diagnosis and what it does to our body that some doctors still don't think that it's real. They think it's all in our head. And to be honest, it is. Fibromyalgia, what it does is it sends, you have pain receptors in your brain, they're always firing. And with fibro, those pain receptors misfire all the time. So I could be like I am right now, sitting here. Now granted, my lower back is absolutely burning right now. But what it'll do is it'll take like the pain that I'm feeling in my lower back and make my foot feel that pain. Or it'll feel like I've punched a wall and that pain from my lower back will transfer up to my hand and I'll feel the hot and the burning just like you would if you were to walk up and smack a wall. So the pain that you would feel from that impact your brain goes, oh, well, that part of her body isn't doing something right now. Let's give it something to think about. And next thing you know, you've got pain in a random spot on your body just for the shits and grin of whatever the pain receptor wanted to send or where it wanted to send. No rhyme or reason when it comes to where it sends the pain, how much pain it sends, what kind of pain it is. They misfire all the time and our brain has all these weird signals. So that's why they put you on stuff like Lyrica and gabapentin and some of the other medications, which now they're using them for like, there's like Wellbutrin that they use for people to help them stop smoking. They put you on, oh God, some people are even on like Zoloft and Prozac and Lamictal. Some of those are like pretty heavy psychiatric drugs that are used to treat things like schizophrenia, paranoid schizophrenia, depression, anxiety. Those are the meds that they give you for those kinds of mental illnesses, because they kind of lump fibro in with a mental disorder because again, it's all in our head. They can find the physical things wrong with us. They can find the pain, they can find the inflammation, they can find the hot and the cold, they can find the swelling, they can find all of those things, but they can't explain it. So they've got to tie it to something. They got to label it. So in their search for trying to figure out what to call things and how to name things, they have more or less created a monster, because every doctor has to have a label for something. And just because it's got a label doesn't necessarily mean that that's what it actually is. So some doctors will go and they'll just throw a label on something, not even knowing what they're really even talking about. I'm looking for a shade. Okay, now back to some symptoms before I talk about more medications and vitamins and stuff. I would go 2 or 3 days without sleeping when I was younger because the pain was so bad. I would doze off, and within the first like half an hour, well, it would take me forever to get to sleep, and it's always taken me forever to get to sleep. So I was having problems getting to sleep, and then once I was asleep, I would have problems staying asleep. So for people with fibromyalgia, they really kind of need that 8 hours of sleep for their body to rest and reset. And the problem is we deal with so much pain that is misfiring at all hours of the day and night, and our body doesn't know really what the hell to do with it. Our body keeps us awake, even though it needs the rest, it craves the rest, it wants the rest. We can't sleep because our body is on overdrive trying to do A, B, C, and D, and it honestly doesn't know what else to do. So that can be a pretty big problem. And because our body needs the sleep and we're not getting it, it causes things like irritability, it causes chronic fatigue disorder, which are no fun. If you've ever been around somebody that's been up for more than 24 hours, you would know that, you get grumpy, you snap at people, you bite their heads off, you are pretty nasty to be around. I know I can go up to 72 hours without sleep, but then I crash for 4 days. And there are days when my body has just abso-freaking-lately had it, and it needs the rest, and it needs to do what it needs to do in order to get the rest. So it basically says, fuck you, I'm gonna shut down and not do anything for you until I get the rest that I need. And that's kind of where I've been right now. I have been working so much with recording videos, editing videos, getting videos uploaded, live streaming for 3 and 4 hours at a time. My body was done. My body had it. I was live streaming every day for a minimum of an hour. Some days I was live streaming and I would live stream for 4 or 5 hours. So my body was completely ready to shut down. So the first day that I actually was able to get, I guess you could say, some rest, even though it wasn't my idea, my body slept for 16 hours solid. And I woke up with my hips both hurting, my lower back hurting, leg cramps, and then I was awake for about 3 hours and I started getting dizzy. And it wasn't because I hadn't had coffee, I had. It wasn't because I hadn't had something to eat, I had. It was because my body needed more sleep. So I took 3 Aleve because I'm running out of the prescription strength Aleve that I have. Ooh, that's burning my eyes all of a sudden. Oh, that's hot. So I took 3 Aleve and a muscle relaxer, and I laid back down and I slept for 14 hours. And then I woke up and I was up for about 3.5, 4 hours, long enough for me to get a shower. And then by the time I got out of my shower, my body was like, you need to sleep again. I was like, no, dude, I got stuff I want to get done. I've got things to do. I can't keep going back to sleep. This is ridiculous. So I was fighting with my own body to go back to sleep when all it wanted to do was, or I should say, stay awake when all it wanted to do was go back to sleep. And I'm like, no, I can't keep doing this. I've got a house to clean. I've got animals to take care of. I can't keep going to bed like this. So I was having a fight with my own body to stay awake. And if you've ever had to fight with your body to stay awake, you know how hard it is, and you get confused, and it's hard. It really is hard, especially when you know you probably need the sleep. But then my OCD kicks in and I'm like, I've got all this stuff to do and I can't get any of it done because all my body wants to do is go back to freaking bed. This is ridiculous. Okay, so I just mixed some foundation on the back of my hand. I'm gonna take off what's on the spatula. So I was trying to recover from being so overworked and overstressed. And for anybody that's ever like tried to do something when you're sick, think about it like that. Think about it like you have a cold or a flu and your body needs rest, even though you know that you've got all of this stuff that you want to get done and you can't get it done because you... Sorry, my brain just gave out. You have a bunch of, say you've got a cold or a flu going on and you've got stuff that you've got to get done. And you know your body needs rest because you're sick. Well, the problem is when you have fibromyalgia and you know you've got stuff you've got to get done, but your body is saying, oh no, we need you to go and lay down, or you've got to do this, or you've got to do that. You kind of have to listen to your body, because then you end up with things like confusion, which is kind of bad. It's kind of like you get delirious doing stuff. And this foundation is way too pink. I'm mixing the Revlon 3X. This is in Fresh Ivory, and then I mixed it with the 102. I did like a pump and a half of the darker one and mixed it with this facial oil I'm testing out. So if my face like completely freaks out, it's most likely the oil, because I know I've used this primer before and it was fine. This is the Skin & Co. facial oil. It's got mushrooms in it. That kind of worries me because it's got truffle extract or something like that in it. So we shall see. It actually looks like it leaked on the counter. All I had to do was like pull the little tab off of it and the oil was like popping out everywhere. So it is what it is. And it's all over my hand. It smells good though. Like, smells really good. So knowing that, you know, your body needs rest, but yet you've got stuff to do, it's kind of one of those like double-edged swords, because you know you've got work to do, but your body is telling you you're not capable of doing what you need to get done, just for the simple fact that it needs you to slow down and it needs you to rest. And that's one thing I have a hard time with having fibro, is because I've always kind of been a workhorse. I've always been one of those people that works 2 jobs, or works 2 jobs and goes to school, works, you know, up to 3 jobs at one time. I was working, when I was in my early 20s, I was barely getting 3 hours of sleep a day. I was working 3 different jobs and going to school and raising a child. So it was kind of hard to go through that stuff, but there were days when I was just so exhausted, I didn't even want to look at homework. I would literally just crash. Like, I used to sit at my computer with my daughter in my lap while I was doing homework, so not only I could be productive enough and get my homework done, but I could also see my child, because I was working so much. I just couldn't. I couldn't keep up. I couldn't do what I needed to do and spend time with my child and work and keep bills paid and a roof over my head, that kind of stuff, because it was a lot of work. So I'm used to like running on like fumes when it comes to that kind of stuff, but when you have fibromyalgia, it makes it so much harder to do stuff like that. Okay, sorry, my dad just got up and went out and talked to him for a second. I also wiped the foundation off my lips, hence the lip gloss. So it's kind of hard dealing with health problems, because every day it's something different. I don't deal with the same pain day in and day out. I deal with something new every time something happens. Or I might deal with something similar pain-wise, but it's not the same. I don't have any one day that feels like the next. So it's kind of hard when you're trying to explain it to a medical professional because they can't like understand what you're going through just by you saying, oh, well, today it feels like this, but yesterday it felt like this. For the past several days, I have done a considerable amount of sleeping. My body has been beat up feeling like I posted on Twitter that I felt like I had been run over by a steamroller. And that's exactly what I felt like. I felt like my body had been compressed and run into the concrete. It's been that bad. Holy crap. So I've been taking high quantities of Aleve because I have found that Tylenol and ibuprofen only do so much, but Aleve seems to be the better option for me to take for pain because it kicks in faster, it lasts longer, I use it more for like swelling and for back pain than anything else. And it seems to work really well. I have migraine medication that I take that has Tylenol in it or acetaminophen, depending on what you call it where you live. But I just know for me, because I can't afford my prescription medication anymore, which was my morphine, that I have to do what I can do to manage the pain that I have with what I have. So do I wish that I had the morphine and my heavy duty muscle relaxers? Oh buddy, yeah, I do. I could take one migraine or one morphine pill and be pain free for several hours, and I'm talking like half a day. And I only use the morphine when I absolutely had to have it. So if my prescription said to take it 3 times a day and I was okay, I was pain free enough to get through 8 to 10 hours without having to take another pill, I would wait until 12 hours to take that pill. And my doctor never could understand why. And then of course I ended up going and having psychiatric testing done because it was required by the Social Security Administration when I applied for disability, because people that have conditions like mine, it's super hard to get disability because it's like, oh, well, you don't have a real condition, so we can't like give you something, or we can't like say that you've got something because we can't see it on a medical test. We can't see it on blood work. We can't see it on paper. That's what they want. They want documented proof that you have X, Y, and Z, and you just don't have that with fibromyalgia. You don't. So it was hard for the medical professionals that were working on my case when I was younger. And of course, this was before I got education. Back in the day, they denied me for disability because I was too young. And then when I was 25 and reapplied again, they said I was too young and too educated. Well, by then I only had like a couple of certificate degrees and my AA degree. So I had a high school diploma and I had 2 certificate degrees and my AA degree. So how I was too educated is beyond me. And then when I reapplied again when I was 27, I had 3 certificate degrees, an AA degree, and I was almost done with my bachelor's degree. So they, again, threw age and too educated into the mix. So it was so difficult for me trying to get disability that, and then of course I had a lawyer and he screwed up paperwork, and that's a story for another time. So the things that I go through on a daily basis change. There are some days I wake up and I feel fine. There are days when I wake up and I literally get up, I go pee, and I go right back to bed. There are days when I wake up and I know I've got stuff that I've got to get done. So I get up, I do exactly everything that I need to get done, and then I go back to bed. Because we have animals, they have to be tended to at least twice a day. So I have to, always make sure that my rats have food and water, that the cats have food and water, and their cat boxes are cleaned. The dog is taken out at least a couple of times a day. Granted, Dad takes her out when he first gets up, and he, takes her out when he, before he goes to bed. He makes sure that, those things are taken care of. But during the day, she's my responsibility to take her outside and make sure that she goes. So no matter how poorly I'm feeling, I still have responsibilities that I have to take care of. And the past few days I've been thankful that my dad's been home, because Friday was like the first day that I really crashed out. And he let her out when he first left for work, or before he left for work. And then she was my responsibility to take care of until he got home. And I did wake up at like 1 something and let her out, and then I went back to bed. I literally only got up long enough for me to use the bathroom and to let the dog out. I didn't even walk out and get mail. I was like, screw it, I'll let Dad get the mail. I am not walking half an acre to the mailbox to go get mail. I just wasn't going to do it. And I was in so much pain that I don't think I would have been able to do it even if I wanted to. So it was probably a good thing that, Dad came home when he did Friday, and he's on vacation this coming week. So if I need to take more time to recuperate, I can do that, and I don't have to worry about, is the dog going to be taken care of? Because granted, my brother does live here, but he doesn't speak to me, and he's a rude SOB, and he barely can take care of his own cat. So why would I expect him to want to take care of my dad's dog? It's like one of those things. So I kind of got sidetracked there. So with my fibromyalgia, I go through pain, I go through swelling, I go through burning, I go through problems with Charlie horses. Just within the past week, I've had all of those symptoms. And right now my back is actually, my lower part of my back feels like it's literally on fire. And I've tried ice packs on it. I usually sit with a heating pad on my back when I'm in my chair at my desk, just for the simple fact that I kind of have to. I literally live on a heating pad because my back is always, I have so much pain that I haven't gone one day without sitting on a heating pad for the past 15 years. At least 2 or 3 hours a day, I'm on a heating pad. And I actually had one years ago blow up on my back and cause burning. It caused burns on my back, which damaged the tissue of my back. So now I'm prone to heat sensitivity. So I'll be sitting leaned up against a heating pad, which I know you're supposed to like sit and then like lean it against your back. You're not supposed to like put pressure on it. Bull crap. I don't know anybody that does that, where they like lay down and like lay a heating pad on top of them. Screw that. I'm gonna put it on the bed and I'm gonna lay on that. So that way I've got the pressure of me on top of the heating pad, which allows the heat to feel like it's more potent. So, I don't know. I guess it's one of those like things that companies don't want you to do because you could like burn yourself. Well, I had one time where the temperature gauge on it broke, and they're supposed to like auto shut off after, like now I think they're 2 hours on them, but like the one that I had years ago, it had like a 20-minute shut off on it. And the needless to say, it didn't shut off after 20 minutes. And because my back was numb from how much pain I was in, I didn't feel how hot it had gotten until it literally, the cord itself for the heating pad started to like overheat. And my ex-husband had felt like, he sat down on the couch and felt how hot the cord was getting. That's when he realized. He took it off of me, and my back was like bright freaking red. And ended up, I had a doctor's appointment the next day, so we just waited until then to go and get it checked out by the doctor. I didn't think anything of it. I thought it just like any other time, it's going to be fine. Nope. I was completely. Okay, so again, I don't remember where I left off. I was trying to get creases out of my concealer under my eyes. But lately it's been kind of hard for me because I've been stressed out about YouTube stuff. I'm like trying so hard to keep up with daily recording and uploads. Now some days I can record 2 videos in one day, but then I have to get it uploaded off my phone, and that's been the hard part, is trying to get everything uploaded off my phone. I use Dropbox in order to pull the videos off my phone, because for whatever reason, every time I connect my phone to my computer to get it to upload on my computer, it doesn't recognize my computer, it doesn't recognize my phone. So that's been kind of a problem, and I need a like easier way to record my videos and get them up off my device faster. And until I can afford, you know, one of those fancy $1,500 cameras, which I've looked at several that are like the older versions of the new cameras that all the YouTubers are using. I've looked at several of them. They're like, the cheapest one is like $300, and I just don't have it. And I know my dad said he would help, but again, it's not my dad's responsibility for that kind of stuff. It's mine. So I've been working super hard trying to get videos recorded and uploaded so that I can earn enough money on YouTube with my AdSense to be able to afford a new camera. And I have like several SD cards and stuff like that. I've got everything I need to use with a DSLR camera. I just can't afford a DSLR camera. And until I can, I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because I can't, you know, these cameras are freaking expensive, and YouTubers don't talk about how expensive these big fancy cameras are that they're using. And I feel kind of like overwhelmed by some of it. And, you know, I want to stay up with the new and the shiny and the what everybody else is doing. And I know I'm not everybody else, and I know my channel isn't like anybody else's. I mean, some things may be similar, but my channel is what I've made it. I got powder all over the top of the palette. I'm just gonna gather it on my brush, and I don't know. It's just one of those things that I really kind of wish I could record with a better camera, because I think my content would be better, or I would probably like not drone on quite as bad if I had a better camera, or I would record a little bit differently, or maybe people would think my videos are a little bit better, and instead of watching like the first 5 minutes, that they would actually stick around and watch the whole thing. Those are the things that I think about. So I've been killing myself trying to get videos uploaded and recorded. And some days, like depending on how long the video is, I've been trying to like break videos up when I record them into like individual clips. So if you notice that like a video is a little bit disjointed, that's why. Is because I'm having to record like this video, like I'll record for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll stop it and then start the recording again, just so I can get the file uploaded to Dropbox 10 times faster. Because to upload a video, say, that is 30 minutes long or 20 minutes long, it's like, say it's 3 gigabytes. It's going to take my phone about 20 hours to get that uploaded off my device. And my phone has to stay open on Dropbox the whole time it's uploading in order to get that file to upload. Now, pictures, it'll upload when the program's closed. But for video files, it kind of really requires that my phone be open the whole time, which really kind of sucks. Especially if I'm recording a video that's longer, or that's like this, where I'm like talking through, you know, I'm doing a full makeup look and I'm talking through it about a subject, you know, it's going to be a longer video. So trying to upload that all at once, it takes quite a bit. It really does take quite a bit. I think I'm going to spray my face really quick before I do anything else, because I've got some places that feel like draggy, where like the brush, when the brush drags across my face, it feels, when it pulls or drags with the bristles, that lets me know that I still need to like powder that area. So what I've been trying to do is spray my face and then work the product with the sponge to like kind of rehydrate all of this stuff, and that way whatever powder I do have on my face, it kind of like disperses a little bit better. So I just sprayed my face. Now I'm just gonna work in everything. So I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. When I had, like, I was the other day, I was dealing with fibro fog. I literally was like confused. My dad was like asking me questions and I was like, wait, what? Say that again? And he would say it again and I was like, wait, I didn't catch all of that. Can you repeat? You know, I caught this and this and this, but I didn't hear the rest. And you know, he gets frustrated when I'm like that. But there's nothing I can do about it because my brain literally goes, huh? Because it is dealing with so much else that it can literally only focus on one small thing at a time. So fibro fog is kind of hard, and it's different for everybody what it does or how their body and brain reacts to stuff. So I don't know, it's hard for me to explain some things because it's not always the same for everybody. Everybody's condition is different. The way that our body reacts to like pain is different. The way that we feel is different. Some people don't ever deal with fibro fog. Like, I have a picture that has like spoons on it, and even Metamorphosis Rocks is another YouTuber that I watch she's 50 and she's got fibromyalgia. She had this picture she shared on, I think it was Twitter, and it says you start off with 20 spoons a day, 20 spoons, and you've got to pick from certain categories, and like the first category has 4 options, and each of those 4 options cost 1 spoon each. Now again, you get 20 spoons for one day, and then the next category has 4 options and it costs 2 spoons to do those tasks, and then the next one again 3 with 4 options, and then the last one is 4 spoons for 4 options. So you figure if you were to do all 4 of those tasks in one day, that's 16 spoons. That literally only leaves you with 4 spoons left to do stuff. And you've got things like getting up, going to bed, taking a shower, eating, going to work, cleaning the house. All of those kinds of like daily tasks were on that list, but yet, you know, like for example, eating and going to the bathroom costs like 1 spoon. Going to bed, taking a shower, they like cost 2 spoons. Okay, so you've got 2, 4, and 6 just right there, just for daily necessities. And it says, you know, and I did the chart, and every day I use about 24 spoons. And there's only so many days in a row that you can use 24 spoons a day without, you know, because you figure if you're only allotted 20 spoons a day and you use 24 that day, you kind of start off the next day with 4 spoons less. So the next day you start off with, instead of 20 spoons, you start off with 16 and you use 24 spoons. So now you're at a deficit of 8. And then by the third day, you're starting off with 8 less and you're still using 24 spoons. So it just keeps multiplying until your body goes, okay, we're all out of spoons. You can't take any more spoons from the next day. You need to take a break. And the most your body will let you do is get out of bed to go pee and eat. There are days when I hurt so bad taking a shower, just the water from the shower nozzle is painful. It literally feels like somebody is taking a brush like this and poking me with it wherever the water hits my body. It's like constant little pecking, poking motions, and after a while it almost feels like you're bruised. So that's another thing that happens with fibromyalgia patients that doctors can't understand. They can't figure out why. They poke and they prod and they this and they that, and you finally like blow up on them and you're like, would you stop? And they're like, well, what did I do? I'm like, dude, that freaking hurts. And they're like, oh, well, does this hurt? Yes, stop touching me. Like, there are days when just wearing normal clothing is difficult because it's painful. And some doctors take that into consideration when they're working with you, and some doctors don't. Some doctors just go about their day like a bull in a china shop, and they could give two craps about whether or not you have pain. All right, I need to stop this for a minute. I ran out of tea. And I will be back to finish the eye look and put lip color on. I swear I know I put blush on, but it doesn't look like I put any blush on. It is what it is. Hey guys, okay, so I'm back. I did go ahead and, brush my teeth and get dressed, that kind of stuff, because I figured I need to do lipstick, and I've got some product on my lips from earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and wipe that off. And I'm going to be using, this is Fiery from Stila. I did drag out a lip brush just in case. Okay, I think I'm going to grab the lip brush and try it with that. Okay, have lip brush. Will color within lines. Okay, I so should have used a lip liner. I had to go back with an itty bitty brush trying to like clean up around the edges and trying to get everything off, and then it was all over my teeth, and yeah, big mess. Okay, so far it's not on my teeth. It's drying. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the lower part of my lash line before I make a mess out of my lips. So I guess what I should probably say for the end of this is people with fibromyalgia, it's not the same for everybody. You never know what somebody is going through. Everybody is different when it comes to what they go through with pain. And I know I have good days and I have bad days. I have days where I can stand for an hour and be fine. I have days where I can stand for 5 minutes and my legs will be burning. Fibromyalgia is one of those conditions that you never know when you're going to have a good day or when you're going to have a bad day. And I have somebody that was like trying to date me for a while, and he kept saying he was going to take me to Disney because I haven't been to Disney since I was 8. And he was like, oh yeah, well, he's an annual pass holder, so he was going to take me on his annual pass. And I was like, that would be fantastic. I would love to go to Disney. And every time he had like time off from work or whatever, I would come down with what I'm going through right now, which is a pretty bad fibro flare. And it's basically, I've done too much. If I like vacuum half the house one day and then clean the kitchen the next day, I'm fine. But if I try and vacuum the whole house and do the kitchen and take out the trash and clean the rat cages and do all this stuff in one day, my body like completely freaks out. So it's like it doesn't know what to do. And so it's thinking that I have done too much and I need to like back off doing stuff and I need to like slow down. And if I've got stuff to do, I need to get it done. I don't want to have to wait for my body to like catch up or keep up. I want to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I don't want to have to be stuck to my office chair day in and day out or stuck in bed because my body can't handle the work of what it should be doing. So it's hard for me because I like being busy and I like doing things and I like being active. and that red pigment just went right in my damn eye. You know, I like to be able to do things, and with this condition, I just never know when I'm going to feel well enough to do something, or I might start off the day feeling great and then like an hour after I get up feel like crud. You know, it's one of those things where I never know when I'm going to be able to do anything. And I just screwed up this eye. That's okay. I can salvage it. I don't know. It's one of those conditions where you never know what you're going to go through on a day-to-day basis. So that makes you very unreliable. And if you try and force your body to do what you want it to do, you're not going to have the outcome that you're going to want. So those are things that I personally have to keep in mind, because I was so used to go, 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 that I didn't take into consideration that my body can't handle go, 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 go anymore. It's funny, on this side of my eye, it's like lighter in one area than it is in the other. I hope that makes sense, you know, with how I'm explaining it. But for the most part, you know, I have people that are like, oh, well, hey, do you want to go do? And I'm like, no, I'm not feeling good today. And they're like, okay, we'll feel better. And they think that I have a cold or a flu. They don't seem to get that I don't have a cold or a flu. I am dealing with fibromyalgia. Like, I had somebody the other day, tell me on Facebook that it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, that I needed to go to bed. I'm like, dude, I just woke up at like midnight. I've only been awake for 3 hours. And by the way, you're not my husband, my father, or whatever. You have no place telling me, you know, that I should or shouldn't be awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I went to bed at like, I ended up going back to bed at like, I'd say like 4:30. I ended up going back to bed, and then I got a message from him at like 8:30 telling me that I needed to get up and get dressed and go enjoy my weekend. I'm like, and do freaking what? What do you expect me to do? I literally have been stuck in bed, and I explained that to him the night before. I was like, I've been stuck in bed for like 3 days, not feeling great. And he like expects me to like pick up and go and enjoy my weekend, but he has no idea what my life has been like all week, or what I've been going through all week, because he doesn't talk to me on a daily basis. I'm like, dude, go talk to your wife. That's really what I wanted to say. I just wanted to tell him to bump off, because he has no idea. And I had just talked to him like 2 weeks prior about the amount of pain that I have and going through day to day without pain medication, and how difficult it was, and talked to him because he knows about like CBD oil and stuff like that. And I wanted more information on how that stuff works. And he was supposed to explain it to me, and he got sidetracked and decided that he would comment on my looks versus explaining to me, you know, what I needed to know about the substance and how it works, and different formats for it and all that kind of stuff, which is what I had asked for. And as a business that sells that, you know, you would think he would want to talk about that stuff, but no, he wanted to talk about how I looked and my hair and all that other horse crap. And that's not what I was there for. I was there to discuss specifically CBD oil, and he knew that before I got there because we had talked about it. So it makes no sense to me why he would try and like change the subject and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Well, I can tell you one thing. I am not happy about this lip color. I love the color, don't get me wrong. But when I stick my lips together, they stick. Like, not cool. And that's a Stila lip gloss, or lipstick. This is a Stila Stay All Day, and this is in Fiery, and it's a beautiful shade. I'm afraid to put anything else on that lip color, though, because I know if I try and, like, do anything else to it, then I'm going to end up with it running halfway across my face. Do I want it? No, I want it. I'm thinking about putting lashes on. So, and what I'm going to probably end up doing is a video on the lashes that I'm most likely going to put on. So I will record that part separate. I really love this eyeliner. This is the Rodile Smoky Eye Pen in black. And I'm like barely touching my eye with it. And it's like kabam. And I kind of wish I had something to prop this up. So I guess I could move that. Let me rearrange my counter for a second. Ta-da! I made like a little like station here. But this is a very, very soft formula, kind of like a gel, I would say. But my eyes are like super sensitive. I'm one of those people that, like, if you try and put eye drops in your eyes, I like freak out. So doing this is difficult. And I never do the top waterline. And much as I be a pro. Show off. It works if I like look down and away and not directly watch the eyeliner and just kind of go by feel. It seems to work better that way. All of a sudden the camera just closed. So I don't know what happened. Liquid liner we will try. I just felt liquid. It like caught on my lashes. I just felt liquid go spraying across my face. I don't see any of it, but the downside to having texture on your lids or wrinkles or creases or anything, trying to get it on right. Oh, my mole just screwed me up. I have a skin tag right in the center of this eye, and I just tried to paint over it. So for those of you that have questions about fibromyalgia, or if you want to know more, I can sit down and do like a detailed video on all the different variations of it, the signs and symptoms, all that kind of fun stuff. I just figured I would record this, and it's probably going to be like super disjointed. Okay, liner is done. Now for the mascara. Let's see if I can do this without getting all of this gunky stuff all over my eyelids and my cheek, my nose. I am usually pretty talented at getting mascara everywhere it doesn't need to be. And this brush, even though I love the formula of this mascara and the brush is very unique, it likes to get everywhere. Ugh. Or I blink or stab myself with the brush. See, the problem with this mascara is all this is on the thing because the little stopper inside this little sample guy doesn't seem to like catch it all. So now I've got mascara under my eye. Where'd the other little brush go? Okay, I'm gonna stop messing with things. And anyways, I'm Rebecca Oberstadt. If you've made it this far, I'm sorry. It's long. I rambled a lot. I was kind of in and out, foggy wise, talking, and it's probably quite a bit disjointed, but it is what it is. I am in the middle of I'm coming down from a fibro flare, so my brain is kind of like all over the place. I will take pictures with my hair down and that kind of stuff, and I will stick them in at the end. So if you want more information about fibromyalgia and what the symptoms are, how to get tested for it, all that kind of stuff, I can do a breakdown video on it. I've been living with this disease for over 20 years. It's not fun. According to my doctor, I am the youngest person he's ever met that has the most severe form of fibromyalgia ever. Fibromyalgia can be very mild, it can be very moderate, or it can be pretty severe. And some people with fibromyalgia, it puts them in a wheelchair. I have had days where my legs don't work, so I have to use a walker.